Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Emily, and today we're doing another book wrap up and TBR video. So we're going to be focusing on December's wrap up and all of the books that I am planning on reading in January 2023. Let's just have that soak in for a second. I really do feel like 2023 is going to be a great year. I'm very much so looking forward to it. I don't know about you, but much needed. So before we get into the actual wrap up and TBR, because Christmas did just come and go, I decided I wanted to show you guys the 2 books that I got for Christmas. I didn't get too many because, well, one, I didn't ask for any. I personally just love buying my own books, or, you know, thrifting them or loaning them, whatever it may be. But my boyfriend does love to get me books for Christmas and my birthday and Valentine's Day, so that is what these are. These are from my boyfriend Nick, and I just wanted to show them off before we get into the actual wrap up. So the first book that he got for me actually was one that I never would have expected, and I have actually been interested in reading it because I've heard really great things and I do like the premise of the story, and that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I've heard excellent things about this. If you don't know what it's basically about this midnight library where this woman can go and open different books and basically see different ways her life could have went if she made different decisions, I'm pretty sure. Every book provides a chance to try another life you could have lived, to see how things would be if you made other choices. Would you have done anything different if you had the chance to undo your regrets? It sounds really interesting to me. Actually a great book to read, I think, at the beginning of the year. So this might end up being a February read for me. We shall see. You know, I wasn't expecting it, and I am very excited about it. And another one that I wasn't necessarily expecting, but is definitely more along the lines of something he would pick up for me, is the 3rd book in the Shatter Me series. So this is Ignite Me. It goes Shatter Me, Unravel Me, and then Ignite Me. So I have the 3rd book now. I'm well on my way to getting the entire series, thanks to him, because he definitely is the one who's bought me every single book from the series. But yeah, if you don't know what this is about, I highly recommend just looking it up. It's about a girl named Juliet, and if she touches people, she can actually kill them. Her touch is fatal, and it's basically just about this war and rebellion, very dystopian YA. It's a good time. So very excited for this one, and thank you so much, Nick, for all of the books this Christmas. Okay, I'm just gonna have some iced chai. For anyone curious what I picked up, I got a grande iced chai tea latte with 1 pump of sugar-free vanilla, 2 pumps of chai, and a espresso shot. So that's what I'm dealing with today. It's well needed. So let's dive into all of the books that I read in December. I do like to do these in order, so I'm going to go from the first book I read to the last one this month. First one being Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I really like this one. I arguably would say I liked it just as much, if not a little bit more, than normal people. I haven't watched the show yet. That is a to-do for the beginning of January, but this book follows 2 best friends, Bobby and Frances. It is 2 women. They used to date in high school, and now they work together, basically. Frances is a poetry writer, and Bobby is like really good at performing them, so they make a really good team. But they end up meeting this couple who is like well over a decade older than them, and Bobby has a friendship with Melissa, the wife, and Frances has this very scandalous relationship with Nick, the husband. And if you don't know Sally Rooney's work, she talks a lot about politics and just like the societal boundaries, if you will. And I think that she did a really great job with this, discussing the 4 of them and how they all communicate and how they all are friends, but also kind of like don't like each other all that much. I don't know, it was really interesting, but I actually really enjoyed the ending of this story versus normal people. So this was a 4 out of 5 for me. I really liked it, and I am super excited to watch the show. And next up, I actually listened to a biography or a memoir by none other than Matthew Perry. I listened to Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. This was fabulous. I will say there were some things that I wasn't a huge fan of. You know, the audiobook, I was really happy that he did narrate it because I don't know if I would have liked it as much. However, I am not going to sit here and say that I don't feel like he whined a little bit during it, but his story is definitely very, very inspiring. Knowing everything that he went through, seeing how like the cast of friends helped him through that, dealt with everything that he went through with alcoholism and drugs and pressures, and just there's a lot of things. I'm not gonna, you know, I can't really compare this to any other biography I've ever read because everyone's life is so different, but I do wish that, you know, there was a little bit less of like teaching us about the medications he was on and more about the emotional side of how it made him feel, if that makes sense. I still gave this a 4 out of 5. I love Matthew Perry. I think that he is an excellent actor, and I'm a huge fan of Friends, obviously, so I definitely thought it was interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to listening or reading more biographies in the future because I do think that they have been teaching me things. I listened to I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, now this one, and I do plan on listening to Have I Told You This Already by Lauren Graham in the new year because I have Audible and I can. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I know that she's definitely a little bit more humorous, but I think that biographies are a good thing to read. They give you perspective. So 4 out of 5 for Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. That was the second book of December for me. The third book that I read in December was Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw, and this one was pleasantly surprising. Also, can we just take a moment to really just take in this cover? I mean, it is absolutely stunning. So this is a YA, somewhat fantasy. It's witchy, basically. It's a YA witchy book, and it follows this 17-year-old Nora Walker, who is one of many of the Walker witches from this part of the woods. And the forest that she's lived in her whole life, people say is cursed, it's magical, very dangerous to walk through unless it's a full moon or unless you are a walker. So that in itself was a really interesting concept, and I think that Shay Earnshaw did a really great job at just expressing what the atmosphere and the environment of this book was. Like, I have never felt more immersed in a story than I have with this one. So basically it follows Nora, and she meets this girl, I believe her name is Sally or something like that. I'm forgetting her name, but she meets a friend named Sally from her high school, and she also meets this boy named Oliver in the woods, and she's like, how are you alive? You were literally buried under the snow. And she helps him try to kind of figure out what happened. A boy goes missing, they're trying to figure out what happened there. So there's kind of like a mystery, a little subplot of romance, and I just thought it was really cool. Very different from what I'm used to, and I'm excited to continue reading her books. I want to read The Wicked Deep at some point in 2023. I gave this one, yet again, 4 out of 5, and I really liked it. So if you haven't read this one, or if you haven't read any Shay Earnshaw, I highly recommend it because I think that her writing is one of the best writing styles, at least in YA, that I've read in a while. The next book I do not have on hand, but it was Lost in the Plot's book club pick for December, and that is The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews. This is a little teeny tiny novella. It's about 200 pages long, and it follows a woman named Ivy Perkins who just got divorced and decided to say, F it, I'm gonna buy a farmhouse and renovate it. So basically she moves to the middle of nowhere to this really tiny town, and she meets a lot of really great people along the way. She has a dog, so there's like a cute little dog in the book, and I just love that. And she also has chickens. So all of these things, plus the farmhouse, plus it being Christmas, was just very cozy. There's different subplots throughout it. So she's trying to renovate her farmhouse, and as she's cleaning it up, she comes across a Mrs. Claus and a Santa Claus Santa suit. They just bring a lot of magic to her life. She doesn't tend to say no to anything. She helps everyone out, they help her, and it just makes the Christmas season extra special for her in her new home. But like I said, there are different subplots. I don't want to get into it too much, but I thought it was really interesting, and I've read books like this before, and they always surprise me in the best possible way. So I'm really excited to discuss this with everyone in the book club, and dare I say it, it was another 4 out of 5. So a lot of 4 out of 5 reads this month, but I'm not complaining. I mean, anything 4 and up is like great for me. So yeah, very excited to discuss that in the book club, and I really enjoyed it. And the last book for December is Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. I actually haven't started this yet, but it's probably going to take me a good maybe day, like 2 hours to get through because the writing is just so big and it's really small. But this book follows Nick and Charlie from the Heartstopper series, and Nick is going off to college while Charlie is still in school, in high school. And it's basically just about their relationship and what it's going to be like as they separate and go to different schools. Are they going to work out? Is their love, you know, strong enough to make it through all of the challenges they have to go through? I'm really excited about this, and I'm really excited to end my year off with this. So I can't give a rating, but will I guess a 4 or a 5? Yes, because I just really love them, and I know that Alice Oseman does such great work. And I've been dying to read this, so it's probably going to end up being either a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5, and I will definitely let you guys know. Honestly, I can put it in right here. I'll probably finish it before this video goes up. Alright guys, let's dive into all of the books I'm planning on reading in January. So I'm going to start this off with the book club pick for January, and that is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I don't know how to say the last name, but the same author who wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue. So I'm really excited. This is a sapphic romance about a girl who lives in New York and takes the subway every day to go to work or school or something, and she always sees this really cute, kind of like edgy girl on the subway. And she finds out that she's actually stuck in a time loop. She's from the 70s, and that's about all I know. I'm gonna be completely honest. I like to go into my book club reads pretty open, so I don't know too much about it, but I know that it's sapphic, and I know that there is like time travel in it. So I'm really excited about it. Other than that, don't have much else to say, but that is definitely a book I'm going to be reading in January to discuss at the end of the month in the book club. A book that I actually did just start today. First book of January is going to be The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Guys, I'm finally getting around to it. I know it has been long awaited. I've literally said I wanted to read this since last January, so it's time, it's happening. I am on the 3rd chapter right now, and I'm absolutely loving it already. I already knew I liked Taylor Jenkins Reid's like writing, but I am so excited to really dive deep into this and get to know Evelyn Hugo, and her interviewer's name is Monique, I believe. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to give my total review at the end and my rating, but that'll be in next month's wrap up. The next book that I'm really excited to read in January is a thriller actually, and that is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. So this book, again, I don't really know much about. On the back it does say, "Think you know the person you married?
Think again.
Things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. Every anniversary, the couple exchanged traditional gifts, and Adam's wife writes him a letter she never lets him read, until now. Self-confessed workaholic, Adam Wright has face blindness. He can't even recognize his own wife. And Amelia is sick of feeling unseen. When Adam and Amelia win a weekend away to Scotland, it might be just what their marriage needs. This weekend may make or break their marriage, but they didn't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of secrets, and an anniversary they will never forget." That sounds really good. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay, this is like, I already know this is going to be good. I think this is going to be a 5 out of 5, but we shall see. This is my one thriller for the month. I kind of have like a dark academia fantasy that I also want to read, but I am super pumped for this, and I can't wait to give you guys my full review. So for that dark academia one that I want to read, I don't have it yet, but I'm going to purchase it soon, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I am so excited for this. I don't even know what it's about, to be quite honest, but I know that the second book comes out in January called Hellbent. So because I don't know what Ninth House is about, I decided I'm going to read it on my phone here so that you guys know, just in case you aren't aware of what it is, and now I will know a little bit about what it's about. But it says, Galaxy Alex Stern is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. Raised in Los Angeles hinterlands by a hippie mom, Alex dropped out of school early and into a world of shady drug dealer boyfriends, dead-end jobs, and much worse. By age 20, in fact, she is the sole survivor of a horrific, unsolved, multiple homicide. Some might say she's thrown her life away, but at her hospital bed, Alex is offered a second chance to attend one of the world's most elite universities on a full ride. What's the catch, and why her? Still searching for answers to this herself, Alex arrives in New Haven, tasked by her mysterious benefactors with monitoring the activities of Yale's secret societies. These 8 windowless tombs are well known to be haunts of the future rich and powerful, from high-ranking politicos to Wall Street and Hollywood's biggest players. But their occult activities are revealed to be more sinister and more extraordinary than any paranoid imagination might conceive. Wow. I'm overwhelmed. That honestly sounds really good. And like I said, there is a second book coming out with the same character, so now I'm even more excited. See, this is why you read synopsis, okay? Because then you know exactly what you're getting yourself into, and I should have known I was gonna love it, but that was a lot to read, and I'm pumped. Last book on my January pick is actually the novella in the ACOTAR series. I want to read it. I just want to read it, and I feel like January is the right month for it because it is called A Court of Frost and Starlight, and I believe this is just kind of like filler book between Feyre's and Nesta's book. So the back says, Feyre's first winter solstice as High Lady is drawing near. With it will come a hard-earned rest for the work that she, Rhysand, and their friends have done to rebuild the Night Court and the vastly changed world beyond. Yet the festive atmosphere can't keep shadows from looming. Even as her own heart heals, she finds that those dearest to her have wounds that go deeper than she knew, and the scars of the past will touch her court in times to come. So I've heard that you don't technically need to read this, but I am interested in finishing it. I mean, I do have the book, so I might as well read it. And then after this comes A Court of Silver Flames, which I will read a few months down the line. I will read it at some point, but because we don't even have like another book after that in sight, I just don't want to rush it. You know, it's easy to forget what happens in books. So yeah, that is my last book for January. And those are all of the books that I wanted to discuss. So all of the books that I read in December and all of the books that I plan on reading in January. I'm really excited. You guys are going to see in my next video all of my reading goals and my life goals. So you'll see how many books I'm hoping to read throughout the whole year, how many books I want to read each month approximately, and other goals too. So be sure to look out for that next week. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're watching this in the new year, have a happy new year. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, supporting me. It means the absolute world. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because I post videos every single Friday, and I will see you guys in the next one.